So, have you noticed it too? That feeling that everywhere you go, the airport, that cool city square, the famous monument, is just packed. It really feels like after years of being cooped up, the entire world decided to go on vacation all at the same time. Okay, let's get into what's really going on here.
It's a fantastic question, right? I mean, we went from a total global freeze to this global frenzy in just a couple of years. What on earth unleashed this massive wave of travel? In this explainer, we're going to break down the numbers and really uncover the story behind all those crowds. To really get why your flight is full and your vacation spot is jam-packed today, we've actually got to rewind the clock. We need to go back to that exact moment the world pretty much stood still.
Now, what's so wild is the shape of this journey. Look at 2020. Travel didn't just slow down, it completely fell off a cliff. That was the freeze. Then 2021 was this kind of fragile thaw, with a lot of stops and starts. But then, the rebound hit hard in 22 and 23. Borders flew open, and all that pent-up demand just exploded. By 2025, it wasn't just a recovery anymore. It was a full-on boom.
And what does that boom look like in actual numbers? Well, according to the United Nations, we're talking a staggering 1.52 billion international tourist arrivals projected for 2025. Now think about that for a second. That's 4% higher than the peak we saw back in 2019, before everything shut down. We didn't just bounce back to normal, we blew right past it.
So the driving force behind this has a name, and it's perfect: revenge travel. It's this incredibly powerful psychological need to get back the time and the experiences we all lost during lockdowns. It wasn't just about, hey, let's go on a holiday. It was about taking back control, making up for lost time and lost memories.
And hey, if you want to see the clearest, most undeniable proof of this whole thing, you just have to follow the money. Seriously, the airline's journey through all this is one of the most dramatic financial comebacks you will ever see.
Okay, just look at United Airlines. In 2020, they posted a mind-blowing net loss of over $7 billion. It was an absolute crisis. But then, you fast forward to 2025, and their revenue has practically quadrupled, hitting a record $59 billion, with over $3 billion in pure profit. That right there is the V-shaped recovery in cold, hard cash.
But as we enter 2026, there's really cause for optimism. We're off to a really strong start. Demand is really strong. The last 2 weeks have been the first and second highest booked revenue weeks in our entire history.
And if you think that was wild, Delta's story is even more jaw-dropping. They were staring down an almost unbelievable $12.4 billion loss in 2020. But by 2025, they weren't just profitable. They were absolutely roaring with a record $63 billion in revenue and a massive $5 billion in net income. Just incredible. And this success just shows how well Delta played its cards during the boom. I mean, they didn't just survive the storm, they figured out how to ride the massive wave it created, coming out on top as the most profitable airline in the US.
And listen, this was not just an American story, not at all. Let's hop over to Europe. The Lufthansa Group shows the exact same pattern. A devastating 6.7 billion euro loss in 2020, followed by this incredibly powerful return to profitability, with revenue more than doubling by 2024. This trend was, without a doubt, global. So, okay, the airlines are cashing in. Big time. But this huge wave of travel doesn't just stop at the airport gate. It sends these massive ripples through the entire global economy, and it can actually lift the fortunes of entire countries.
You can see that impact so clearly right here. The stock markets of huge tourist destinations like Spain and Italy did way better than their European peers. And it makes sense, right? When millions of travelers come flooding in, it's like a massive cash injection for the local economy. They're paying for hotel rooms, meals, souvenirs, tours, everything. And that boosts company profits, which in turn boosts their stock prices.
Okay, so this all leads to a really crucial question. Is this whole thing just a temporary blip, a post-pandemic fluke? Or is there something deeper, something more permanent going on here? All the evidence seems to be pointing to the second one.
There are a few deep structural shifts that are really locking this trend in place. First up, remote work. It's a game changer. People aren't chained to a desk anymore, giving them this crazy flexibility to travel whenever they want. Then you've got social media, which is basically a 24/7 travel ad, creating this huge demand for those picture-perfect places we all see in our feeds. On top of that, in a world that feels a bit uncertain economically and geopolitically, spending money on real experiences like travel just feels like a safer bet on happiness than buying more stuff. And finally, as AI makes our digital lives feel more and more synthetic, the value we put on real, authentic, in-person moments has just skyrocketed. So here's the real takeaway. When you see those news stories about overtourism and crowded cities, you're really just seeing a symptom of a much, much bigger story. It's not just about a bit of social strain, it's about a powerful and frankly durable economic demand for real, authentic experiences that is literally reshaping our world. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As our digital lives get more and more saturated with AI and virtual everything, is the simple act of traveling, of physically being in a new place, having a real experience, becoming the ultimate, most valuable investment any of us can make?